Hello, thanks for joining us today for the Ultimate Wellness Revolution. I am Dr. Amy Burleson and my co-host Dr. Sarah Westcott sitting right next to me. We are from Adirondack Advanced Chiropractic. So today's show we're going to be focusing on some myth-busting questions and answers. So we're going to take care of some of the most commonly asked questions that we get whenever we are out and about and in the office. And we're going to be busting some myths also.
And I think it's probably the most important right now to tell our audience about the two types of chiropractors that there are.
I think that is a great idea. So there are actually two different types of chiropractors. The first type would be called a pain management limited scope chiropractor. And the second one would be a full spectrum or wellness focused chiropractor. So now, typically when people come into an office, it is because of a pain or symptom. So now, in the limited scope office, what would happen is someone comes in with, well, you name the condition and they come in with it. So whenever that condition gets better or gets to a place where they're happy with it and it's manageable, then what happens is, well, essentially they go, okay, come back whenever it hurts or whenever you experience this symptom again.
Right.
So now the wellness-focused chiropractor, what happens in that office is, well, you won't ever hear the come back when it hurts again, right?
Right. We never say that. The wellness-focused chiropractor is a chiropractor that not only in the, first of all, in our office, let's just speak from experience of
Yes.
what our office is. Every person that comes into our offices is going to come to a doctor's consultation. And what that means is that we give a presentation, very similar to what we're doing here, to what we've done on SACC TV in the past, where we give them information. We give them information about why they got there, essentially how they got to the place of being unwell, some statistics about the healthcare situation in this country, some information about how their body works, and then also, and very importantly, the nervous system testing that we do in the office is also huge. So Dr. Amy, I have a question for you.
Yes.
What is the master system of the human body?
The master system of the human body is the nervous system. That is the first system that is actually formed. And that consists of the brain, the spinal cord, and the nerves. That is what chiropractors actually directly work with, is the nervous system.
Right. And so does it make sense to you that if you know that the master system is touching every cell, tissue, muscle, and organ in your body, does it make sense to you that you'd want to know how well that system is functioning?
Most definitely. Most definitely. And I think it's really important that you mention that it touches every single cell in your body. So that's trillions of cells. Every single function you could think of as we're sitting here and we're breathing and our heart's beating and we're talking and thinking, all of that is under the direct control of our nervous system. It's the most important system in the body.
Right. And so kind of go into a little bit about what might happen when there's nervous system stress.
So what might happen when there's nervous system stress? Well, really, that's kind of an easy question to answer. I would say anything, but I'll go in a little bit further about what could happen. If you have nervous system stress, that doesn't necessarily transmit into pain. Because in your nervous system, only 10% of your nerves transmit pain sensation. So that means the numbness, burning, tingling, pain, all of those sensations, that's only 10%. So the other 90%, so the 10% you have this much, the 90%, this much of your nervous system, that is either controlling organs and glands or muscles.
Right, and the testing that we do in our office, I'm glad you mentioned that, because the testing that we do in the office is a thermography. So essentially what we're doing, the testing that we do is completely non-invasive. It's just measuring what's already there, right?
Right.
So what we do is we take this, I call it the roly-poly instrument. I know that sounds
I've never used that. I really
advanced,
like that.
but it's a thermography instrument. And so what it does is it tells temperature and tells us whether there's a temperature difference from side to side along your spine. That tells us what the autonomic or automatic nervous system is doing while we're doing measuring. The next test is myograph, electromyograph, surface EMG, or electromyograph. So it's measuring the electrical activity of the muscles that are right around and line up along your spine. So what those are telling us is the motor portion of the nervous system,
right.
That part of your nervous system that moves you around the voluntary portion of the nervous system. And why it's important that's at least some of the testing that we can do, in addition to some postural exams and range of motion and functional exams. Because we're very, very interested in how your nervous system is functioning, and as a result, how are you functioning? And that says so much more about your health than a blood pressure test or a cholesterol screening.
Right.
How you're functioning and how your nervous system functioning controls all of the rest of it.
So now, give the breakdown, essentially, of what happens whenever someone comes in for the first time. What is going to happen when they come into our office, we can speak for.
Okay, so for the first time, they're going to come into the doctor's consultation. So 20, 30 minutes, given questions. If what they're hearing, and we're going to talk more about what people hear during that consultation, is something that they are interested in, that they're interested in making us as wellness chiropractors part of their healthcare team, if they hear that and they want to continue, then the next step would be to get the scan. Mm-hmm. So we would schedule them for a scan on their next visit in, where we would go over their health history completely from 0 months to whatever age they are when they come in. We want to know everything.
Even things that seemingly are not connected with why they're coming in. We're going to ask questions that just run the range of what's been happening throughout their life. And I know you get this as well, that, well, why do you want to know this? So we're asking complete history, even if it doesn't seem to be connected to why someone wants to come in.
Exactly. So then we would proceed to the testing, where they get the scan, we get postural exams, a range of motion exams, and any specific testing that we might need above and beyond that. If, for instance, we have a digital image scan of the feet, so that we can tell whether somebody is putting more pressure on one side of their body versus the other, and also what the arches of their feet look like, if they actually have any arches of their feet. That's another portion of the testing. And then from there, what we do is that first visit, where you're one-on-one with the doctor, is going to be an information gathering visit.
Right.
And so we gather information, and at this point we send people around the corner for x-rays. People may have to go get x-rays. Mm-hmm. Often they do. And then they bring those x-rays back on the next visit, and we have gone over the testing that we've done and come up with a recommendation of care for what we call reactive care. That's assuming somebody has come in for some sort of symptom or what we call complaint, which is condition that they're coming in for. From there on out, provided again that they want to continue with care in the office, then we start getting them adjusted.
Great.
So why don't you go through what an adjustment is like, and what that noise is, and how we don't call that cracking.
Yes, yes, and people, I think, know, well, and I don't know if they make the comments to you, but to me, they're like, oh, you can't say the crack word around, Dr. Amy, she gets a little funny about that, and I do, but because...
Just say no to crack.
Just say no to crack. I always say the police won't like it if we have crack in the office, so no crack. And it just sounds so bad to be cracked.
When it's so much the opposite of what is happening, right?
Right. So what the sound really is gas shifting in your joints. So
shift happens.
So that's it. And, kids really find that funny, too, when you say you have a gassy spine. So they really like that. So nothing actually cracks. If you were to actually think about cracking a bone, well, that's bad. So we don't do that. It's merely gas.